Hello, hello. Hey there, YouTube, Slasher Chicks and Slasher Dudes. My name's Alicia. This is Slasher Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies. So you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this/that. And today is day 75 of 90 consecutive days of live streaming. Oh my gosh, I only have 15 more days to go. That feels so exciting. Now, I meant to update well, one of the things that titles they had for Mondays was Money Moves Mondays. And what has been all over my feed today is about this group. Well, the product is called Bilt. Now, if you hadn't heard of it, it was a credit card that you could use to pay rent, and they would give you points back. Okay, all of my things are popping up. Hold on. All of my accoutrement, that is, like, get paid to be me or get a discount. All those things are popping up, and I need to unpop all my pop-up screens. Okay, now back to the topic at hand. So yeah, Built was is, I guess they're still around, but a credit card that let you pay rent and you could get points back, and it was geared, yeah, most definitely at millennials, and it was backed by Wells Fargo. Now, the first time I encountered it was I was working at a women in tech fair, and they were there hiring. And they were hiring at a stellar rate. So I don't. Well, let's say I don't know what their valuation was. Um, But according to one of the many articles that have come out today about this, Wells Fargo is losing as much as $10 million a month on this new card. And I believe they had, I want to say they couldn't have signed it indefinitely, this agreement. Let's see, but it says Wells Fargo may have overestimated how many cardholders would carry balances over on the new card, and the expected profits have never arrived. So, as with all new card launches, yes, it takes multiple years for the initial card to pay off, and they're in the early stages of the partnership. But of the new card holders, 70% are actually brand new customers to Wells Fargo, and their average age is 31, and their average FICO score is 760. So, those are desirable metrics for Wells Fargo. But what is going wrong? Because let me tell you, this has been everywhere. If I go back to my original search here, okay, not the original USA Today here, but as you can see, Wall Street Journal, Business Insider, everyone's been talking about this today. Now, that was the USA Today article. Let's see what the Business Insider is saying about. Uh, Business Insider is saying, I can't read this unless I want to go behind the paywall. All right, let's see if I can get one free Wall Street Journal article. Okay, so they are negotiating the deal after incorrectly forecasting. And I will not get one Wall Street Journal article, apparently. But at any rate, yes, this is the rabbit hole that I am down today. I coach Sherry in trying to see what's going on with Bill. because there's too much smoke. So there's got to be some fire. Now, they're alleged that's what I was looking for. So they have been negotiating this agreement to 2029. That is wild that Wells Fargo would lock themselves in for that long. Now, it really makes sense for Bilt to want to get the backing for that long, but it doesn't make sense that Wells Fargo would commit to that long without having some sort of clause with an ability to renegotiate. Now, they said unless things, and they're not intending to renew when it ends in 2029. So, what is the business planning to do if Wells Fargo doesn't renew? Then how else will they back those credit cards? And not only that, all of the people who have now been using this to pay their rent, what happens to them in that debt? This is all very interesting to me, and I am going to continue to follow what happens to Built, because you ever have some of those businesses where you're like, but how do you make money? And they tell you, and you're like, okay, but yeah, but how will you make money? Um, That's exactly what I was thinking, Coach Cherry. I didn't want to say it out loud, but I'm like, will Wells Fargo even be around in 2029 to hold up this agreement, especially at the rate Wells Fargo in particular has been going? But all of the big banks, I would think, should be concerned about their own sustainability. But if you go, let me just see. I know I'm not. Yeah, Wells Fargo has been in the news for quite some time for all kinds of bad news, is what I would say. Like big news that is not good for business. And I knew there was something else recently, and recently was the layoffs that they had to do as a result of finding out that a bunch of employees were using key simulators to simulate movement on their keyboards and weren't actually working throughout the day. So they terminated those workers after investigating those claims. And I can't remember how many, more than a dozen. Now, granted, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of Wells Fargo employees, because Wells Fargo certainly has thousands of employees. How many employees does Wells Fargo have? But they've also been in the news, for breaches in the last few years, etc. Yeah, Wells Fargo currently has 226,000 employees, approximately. All right, let's say give or take 220, give or take 25,000. But at a minimum, they've got over 150,000 employees. So them firing less than a percent for essentially stealing wages isn't huge. But my point is still, they're not too big to fail, especially if they're making deals like this that they're like, oops, sorry, we didn't, we projected that wrong, our bad. But they're locked into it for another 5 years. That's wild. Um, but that is the state that Wells Fargo attends in happens to be in. Seems appears, that's the word I was looking for. I'm like, why is that word leaving me right now? Why am I struggling to find that word? Appears. But yeah, that seems to be the state that they appear to be in right now. And yeah, we'll see also what happens with the Bilt card. Now, it looks like too, I would also think that those that did get this card were really trying to capitalize on the percentage back and the ability to use it for travel, etc. So they were also not the type of people that they're not carrying over a balance, right? They're using it just to pay the rent to get the points, and they're going to pay off that balance before there's any interest accrued. So I just don't understand the logic of this deal and why Wells Fargo would have agreed to that for that long. That's still so wild to me. But, it doesn't have to make sense to me. It made sense to somebody at Wells Fargo at the time. Multiple somebodies. That's also the thing that is mind boggling to me, though. Multiple people had to sign off on this. Like, no one said, hey, you know how a couple years ago there was that like global pandemic that we just like no one saw coming and that totally messed up business? Maybe we shouldn't commit that long in case like something happens. Not one person said that. I don't know. That's just my thinking. But at any rate, here they are, and that's what's been on my feed mostly today. Now that's a money move technically, according to my topics that I like to talk about on Monday. Now, in other money moves Monday, huh? I don't know. So if you follow, yeah, you're right, Jerry. If you do follow any of the startup landscape and have kept up with this young man whom you may have heard of, John Henry, uh, formerly of Harlem Capital, and now and so John Henry was talked about in like the VC world in the way that Tristan Walker was talked about in the tech space, in that like there's only allowed to be like one successful black person, and this is apparently the person right now. And so he was literally everywhere at one point in time. I want to say, I don't know, 2017 to 2020, maybe, was it? Like literally everywhere. All you would hear about is this Harlem Capital and their disruption of the VC space and their focus on black and brown founders. And I don't recall what happened to that Harlem Capital. I think actually I would have to go look it up, but I'm pretty sure what happened, because John had was a co-founder. He didn't, and he had a partner, and I'm pretty sure they ultimately split, and the partner is still running Harlem Capital, and John exited in whatever way he exited. And then eventually went on to start this company, Loop, which is a car insurance company. Um, but it's like some car insurance company using tech. I don't know. I really still, there's lots of companies that I'm like, they call themselves a tech company, but really you just use technology to deliver something that's always existed. Like WeWork calling themselves a tech company when your co-working space. And really, the reason why you have such a high valuation is because you're buying the real estate. So you're just a real estate company. Well, that's Compass. Compass is another good one, right? Compass swears up and down they're a tech company. You're a real estate brokerage. I don't understand, but I'm getting off topic here. I don't know exactly how Loop is a tech company, but somehow they are, and they recently had a layoff. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know if he's still doing this. We're gonna see. So, John Henry also has a YouTube channel, and he had started doing this daily vlog series of him as a founder. And I remember seeing it and thinking, there's no way he's going to be able to keep this up. This is going to be intense. Like you actually are trying to build this company and you're going to try to daily vlog. Let's see how this goes. And so, well, let's see how this went. I don't know. I haven't been back since I started seeing it. Okay, so it looks like he made it day 14. So 2 full weeks. Where does the day? Yes, this is the day he started. Interesting. All right, 14 vlogs, and but he hasn't posted one in 14. I mean, in 3 months. A lot can happen in 3 months. And knowing the news that we just saw about them recently having to lay off employees, I can see why you might be busy. Now, he said he posted on oh, here we go. He did post on the Instagram. Oh, it looks like his co-founder posted. Here's the email we shared with staff. We released from Loop today. Um, Effective today, we are no longer able to continue your employment. I've come to this decision, absolute last resort. John and I were unsuccessful in raising additional capital after 20 months, trying our best. Our last opportunity, which we shared with you, had an investor pull out in the final hour, and we just fell short. As disappointing as this is, I can't let our mission die and see your work not have the impact it deserves. So we've come to this hard decision that will continue forward only with a much smaller team and operate our way through this. So yeah, I'm pretty sure them being a quote unquote tech company is like they are democratizing insurance or something like that. I don't know what it is. Let me just see what they describe themselves as. Yeah, loop. Okay, well, this is what they do. So they're supposed to be fair and equitable car insurance that we invest in our community. I don't know what that means, but I do know, yeah, the honest and transparent pricing was one of their thing. And I know another one of their things was, some car insurance agencies, yeah, use your credit score to determine your as a risk assessment to determine your car insurance rate, and things that like zip code, etc. Things that could be seen in some ways as almost discriminatory and or predatory. Predatory is a stretch, but discriminatory, yes, in that if you are already in, say, an area that is of a lower income and now I'm associated with a higher risk for my car insurance because of that, and so now it costs me more, like that. That's wild. So I know that's what they're looking to do. So yeah, I kind of said it right when I said democratizing insurance in a way, but I don't think I described it as good as maybe their team would have. Now, how many people they had to lay off, I don't know, but what I do know is this. Let me just see if I can um find out what their um so yeah, it doesn't say in this article how many people they had to lay off, but they have an employee that has posted about it, and I guess now she's able to share. Oh, no, this was from an employee who had previously left and shared that, doing one of those posts like for my colleagues to help them out as they transition. So it looks like they had to lay off some insurance agents, customer care, data analytics, marketing, software engineers, products. So almost every area of the business was impacted. And so they just launched in 2021. Okay. And so that's what I was looking for, how much they had raised. So originally they raised 3.25 million in their seed round by Freestyle VC, with participation from Backstage Capital, Uprising Ventures, and then they went on to raise 21 million during their Series A, led by Foundry Group and 01A. I'm not sure how you say that particular venture fund. And then in 2023, it raised an 8 million extension round, according to PitchBook. Um, Now, that's also really, he was doing really well in terms of what they've been able to raise as a black founded company. But like I said, he started with his own venture capital firm previously as a young man, being touted heavily in the venture space. So it would stand to reason that he likely has lots of relationships that he was able to leverage for funding for this particular company. So, I like their, I like what they're trying to do. I hope they are able to sustain themselves. Maybe some of those employees will eventually be boomerangs, but I'm also gonna say that the likelihood that they had probably overhired in the first place is probably pretty high. So it would, what we may see is then that they actually reevaluate as they do continue to um, rebuild on, what this new normal is going to look like for them. I don't know how insurance is being impacted right now, but I would think that right now, of all times, people would definitely be looking for and interested in insurance that they feel is affordable and equitable, right? That it was fair to them. But again, at the same time, people might just be skeptical about a new product and insurance, period, because it's insurance. I don't know. I've never really considered being insured by anyone that wasn't a well established insurance company. So, if it didn't yet already have some name recognition, I don't think I would try it. I think I would be a little bit too risk averse. But then again, I'm probably also not their target customer because I've probably aged out of who they're going after. So, because officially now I'm like, I am now like the generation of people who are like, no, I don't trust an online bank. So, yeah, I could see that being it too. Coach Sherry, that the timing then they really were able to leverage that. And now it's like not as front of mind. But in other notes of ones that have been successful and thrived post um, C19, and is also a black owned venture backed company. I love this company. I'm such a fan. Is Air Affordable. And essentially, Air Affordable, if you've never heard of it, is like flight layaway. That's the best way to describe it. Like they and I now there's other businesses offering this, but as far as I know, Air Affordable was the first to do it. And they're the fact that they survived the panorama, I'm trying to scroll down here to their founding team. The fact that they survived the panorama, I'm just so impressed. I've always been impressed by just everything about this company and their service. They are just, obviously, like I said, I am a fan, and I will look forward. And now, as I mentioned, not only they were thriving, they expanded their services to not only do flights, but they also now include hotels. They updated their app during the panorama. Um, and what else did they do? They are just seem to be thriving as an organization. Now, I don't know. Let's see what they how they did in their funding. Okay, here's the let's see. And for the record, Coach Sherry, that's air affordable, not to be confused with Airtable, which yes was the thing that I was using um, for building my YouTube planner. But yeah, one and also just to double down on why I love the Air Affordable. It's not only black owned and founded, but more specifically, I showed you the founding team, but the person whose idea it was is the woman. So it's a black woman, and she is the CEO of the company right now as well. And oh, I did not know she went to Drexel. Huh. But the company started originally in 2015. I understand, and I believe in 2016 is when they got their first funding round that wasn't friends and family. And let's see, and I can't find much on what's happened to them since then, as far as um, what kind of funding they've been able to do, but they've continued to run pretty lean and mean, or so it would seem. Yeah, Coach Sherry. Now they also offer hotels, um, and so you pay like a processing fee, and that's how they make their money, for the quote unquote processing fee for the fare. But yeah, they were founded in 2015. They have 8 employees. It looks like as of right now, and yeah, it doesn't look like they've been continuing to fundraise for, which is I think also a good sign for them, because like I would assume they don't need to. They're able to continue to operate the way that they've been doing, and hopefully be profitable. So that's air affordable. Well, I would say yes, because it would be like cutting out the middleman of a travel agent. Right, I don't need it. Now, I also though would not recommend something like this for someone who is not a savvy traveler. Um so like how we were talking, and you talked the other live about your honeymoon, and you had a very specific trip that you had in mind, and a very specific um experience that you wanted. And not only that, it was a unique venue that you had never been to before, etc. Those are kind of things that, like, yes, get a travel agent. um I don't recommend people trying to book those kinds of things on their own. Me, as someone who, like, I solo travel a lot, there are some things I'm just going to book my own, and some things that if I some things I'm going to defer the expertise to a travel agent. um but like something that's like you're a college student that needs to be able to book your flights home for the future. Doesn't hurt. I mean, but you're going to pay, yeah, you're paying a fee. So you're definitely paying more than the market price of your ticket uh, because you're paying a fee to break it up into the payments over time. But again, the fee is also still less than someone would be if they were like a college student and putting it on a credit card. It would still be less than that. But again, similar to the other question or the other business, Coach Harry, you are absolutely, most definitely not their target market. So, of course, anybody that you send it to is like, no, because not the same set of customers. So, but more than anything, I am always excited to see black founded businesses that are venture backed because that's not an easy feat. If there's not a lot of um, it's not that it never happens. It just doesn't happen at the percentage that uh, majority quote unquote majority founded businesses are invested in, and that's and it's definitely at the forefront of even just like the legal realm right now, and that Hello Alice, which is a platform specifically for grant giving for black women owned businesses, had a lawsuit filed against them that they were discriminatory and trying to uphold their ability to give funding to businesses that otherwise don't typically receive funding or may have other, depending on where the business is being founded and launched in a disadvantaged area, etc. And so I think it's important to talk specifically about these businesses for those who are like interested in that landscape. So although like for someone like, let's say, a travel agent, where this might not be like, oh no, I would never recommend that to my customers, but there are also going to be people to come to you as a travel agent that they're not yet ready to be your customer, have alternatives that you might recommend to them. um Yeah. So see, more that we, are talking about those and supporting that, the more there are opportunities for others who may not have even realized that was a possibility for them, or may not even have seen that as an option. So I think, access access is one thing, but we have to first start with awareness as well. So that's why that's the kind of business that, even if it's not something for me, I'm going to tell other people that I think it might be for, because I want them to stay in business. It helps the marketplace for there to be competition. So, but that's my day 75 of 90, and that's my money moves Monday of the rabbit hole I've been down on this startup news for a few of these things today that have had me going, what's going on there? And um and some of them are things I'm just gonna like, I'm saying out loud in case I predict it correctly, and something happens later, because one prediction, sadly, is I don't think Bilt's gonna make it. Not sure if Wells Fargo are gonna make it at all. So uh but the one thing that, well, certainly Bilt won't make it as is. because there's something else that has to be figured out about the model, and I don't think that agreement that they currently have with Wells Fargo will last until 2029. Hopefully, my channel's still here to be able to talk about it before then. But in the meantime, I've completed day 75 of my 90 consecutive days of live streaming challenge. Yay! And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night and say, if no one else told you today, you are more than enough. And I love you.